Hey guys, we are here with the White Delight, Scott Wild. Scott, what is going on tonight, my man? Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We are excited to have you. So Harmon and I have been at the last two Limitless Wrestling shows, past your bedtime, and Risk It for the Biscuit. And we saw your work. It looked like you had some stuff on your mind. Your actions definitely spoke louder than your words, but we thought maybe we'd have you on and maybe get some stuff off your chest, maybe ask you a few questions.
I'm glad to give you my insights into the actions that have transpired over the last month.
Well, fantastic. Let's get right into it. Big Bad Harmon, why don't you lead us off here with this first question for the White Delight, Scott Wild?
All right, Scott. Back in the 24th at Past Your Bedtime, we saw you lose to top shelf Troy Nelson. He was wrestling out of his mind, and then that was pretty early in the night. And then later on, you came out with your Tenacious Two tag team partner Johnny Torres. How did you and Torres come together?
Me and Johnny met very long ago. We started teaming in 2010, but the first thing I'm going to address on you is you forgot to mention my lovely, lovely assistant, Maximum Mecca. And don't you forget that she is part of the treacherous trio. So Johnny and I have been going around up and down the East Coast for the last 6 years now. We had a little coming apart where we decided to pursue singles matches, if you will, and we saw an opportunity to take everything that we wanted out of Limitless Wrestling because we saw that it wasn't going to be handed to us like it was everyone else.
Well, good for you guys, man. You guys look pretty ferocious, or tenacious, as I should say. So that very night, you guys took out your frustrations on the beloved local tag team, the Main State Posse. Do you guys have something against Aiden Agro and Danger Kid personally, or were you guys just like making a statement to management and the rest of the Limitless roster?
I really think it's a bit of both. I mean, Johnny and myself, we came up to Maine starting in 2010, and we built Maine Wrestling from the ground up. It was a barren wasteland, and we have sowed the seeds and reaped the benefits of the fruits of our labors. And Aiden Agro and Danger Kid Danny happened to step in at the right time as we were leaving the scene in Maine. And they're just picking the fruits from everything that we laid out. So that coupled with Randy shuffling us further and further and down the card and immediately putting guys like me and Johnny Torres directly on the shit list and giving us bullshit matches, it didn't sit well with us. We finally found it was time for us to make a stand and prove our point that we are the best tag team to enter the state of Maine.
Scott, was losing the top shelf maybe the straw that broke the camel's back? Is that why you and Torres decided to jump the main state posse?
It certainly started long before that, but it might have been losing to Troy and that fluke roll-up that he had me in may have been the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back, as you said. But even dating back to the show before that, that was No Drop Kicks in the Living Room, when I came out begging for the fans' approval, and they gave it to nothing but Aiden Agro. That really didn't sit well with me. It turned my stomach a little bit. It's like the crowd turned on me right before my very eyes. So yeah, losing the top shelf Troy Nelson certainly put the wheels in motion that we need to do something and do something big to make a statement.
Well, I'll say this about Main State Posse, and to not to discredit the Tenacious Two, but the Main State Posse has become probably our favorite local tag team. So no offense there, Scotty, but just wanted to throw that out there. Obviously, Randy Carver, the owner promoter of Limitless, was not too pleased with you and Torres' actions that night. So what he did was he put together a match between you and the Main State Posse, which is going to take place October 29th at Who Watches the Watchmen. And this match isn't without stipulation, though. If you and Torres lose, you'll be gone from Limitless Wrestling. What are your thoughts on the stipulation? You guys think it's fair?
Absolutely, it's fair because we're not going to lose. You see, Main State Posse didn't come into this with all the heat and the fire that we have. And I know that my job is on the line. So when there's anything goes and anything's legal, the Main State Posse is really going to learn that I got 2 fists and 2 feet that come and they kick your teeth straight out your asshole.
That is a sight. Very nice. Very nice.
How are you and Johnny Torres going to take out MSP and remain a force to be reckoned with within Limitless Wrestling?
Those are cards that I hold up my sleeve, and you will see when the time comes.
Well, it's an anything goes match, correct?
Yes, it is.
What kind of offshoot here? What's your preference for weapons of sorts? What do you got there in store? Anything? Any teaser you can give us?
Not a chance. You're gonna have to come to the show and see exactly what's up my sleeves.
All right, man. Oh man. Well, hey, man. We wanted to play a quick. Actually, no. First of all, before this quick game, we want to address your match against Jeremy Leary and Skyler at Risk It for the Biscuit. You guys pulled out a pretty great victory against them. They're a pretty game tag team in Leary and Skyler, but you got to be honest, like half of that tag team was a girl. She's tough as nails, but she's still a girl. How'd you feel about that match where you essentially beat up a girl?
You step in that ring and you're no longer, I don't care what gender you are, you're a competitor, and I'm going to run through you in order to make my statements. And I damn near knocked Skylar's head square off of her body.
Yeah, that knee was pretty brutal. I don't think anybody really enjoyed it in the audience. Harmon, did you enjoy that, seeing poor Skylar?
It was definitely the biggest moment of the night where the air got sucked right out of the room. Everybody
I enjoyed every single second of it.
You're a savage, Scotty. You're a savage.
You're a sick man, Scott Wilde. Sick man. All right. Well, we wanted to play a quick little game with you. Are you down for a quick little game?
Yeah, I guess I can do a game with you.
All right. The game is called What's Wilder? So we are going to give you 2 things. We're going to name off 2 things. You tell us which one of those 2 things is Wilder. Harmon, why don't you take it away with the first one?
All right. How about Van Wilder or Scott Wilde?
No comparison. Scott Wilde.
Good answer. Good answer. The PBS Kids show Wildcrats or Scott Wilde?
I've never even heard of Wildcrats, so Scott Wilde.
All right. All right.
The erotic thriller Wild Things or Scott Wilde?
You're seriously asking redundant questions. Scott Wilde.
All right. Well, speaking of redundant, the pool scene in the erotic thriller starring Nev Campbell and Denise Richards, Wild Things, or Scott Wilde?
If Scott Wilde was better than the entire movie, then Scott Wilde's wild in the pool scene.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Agree to disagree.
Oh, Harmon talking back to the guest. Not very smart there, Harmon.
I don't know how old you are, so I'm not sure if you remember this. The 90s Nickelodeon television show, Wild and Crazy Kids or Scott Wilde?
That one might be the toughest on this list, but it's still Scott Wilde.
Yeah, thought we had you on that one. Maurice Sendak's famous children's book, Where the Wild Things Are, or Scott Wilde?
Well, the wild things are right here. I am the wild thing, the white delight, Scotty Wilde, so it's obviously Scotty Wilde.
The University of New Hampshire Wildcats or Scott Wilde?
Who did they ever beat? It's Scott Wilde.
Nice. Steppenwolf's song, Born to be Wild, or Scott Wilde?
I'm the living embodiment of this song. So it's Scott Wilde.
Very good. Very
The
good.
classic TV show, Wild Wild West, or Scott Wilde.
I'm like High Noon. So it's Scott Wilde.
Very good. Cleveland Indians pitcher in the Major League movies, Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, or, you guessed it, Scott Wilde.
Great movies, Major League, by the way. The only problem I have there is that the amount of drugs that Charlie Sheen has done is just staggering. And Wild Thing with that stupid haircut and You Make My Heart Sing, that's a load of crap. It's Scott Wilde, your game is stupid, and I am done with this conversation.
And Scott Wilde, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Wilde, just calling it a day. Unbelievable. Wow, I thought we were getting a good rapport with Scotty Wilde there, but he did not.
He's a savage.
He is a savage. He did not take too kindly to us playing that game. He was getting very annoyed. Huh. Well, that's Scott Wilde, ladies and gentlemen.
There's no way he's wilder than Denise Richards in a pool, topless with Nev Campbell. It's no way.
Very few things are. But I mean, Scott Wilde just very well may be. I don't know. Should we give Scott Wilde some plugs? I mean, he left without plugging stuff. I don't know.
He will be wrestling at Who Watches the Watchmen with his tag team partner, the Tenacious Two.
Yep.
Johnny Torres against the Maine State Posse.
Yeah, it's October 29th up in Orono. I believe it's part of what is it, like Orono Fest or something?
Bangor Fest.
Bangor Fest. That's what it is. Bangor.
Not in Orono. At the,
Bangor. Right.
The Field House.
The Field House. There you go. Yeah. We'll give Scott. Well, he was gracious enough to come on our show, so we'll give him some plugs. If you guys want to follow Scott Wilde, he's on Twitter at WD Scott Wilde. Stands for the White Delight, Scott Wilde. So again, it's at WD Scott Wilde. And that's really about it. Go follow him there. Tell him that he was a jerk on our show. And I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to seeing the match between the Maine State Posse. I mean, I'm a little biased in this match because I'm a big Maine State Posse fan. But man, Wilde's an animal. So they're gonna have to bring their A game. So yeah, Harmon,
Yeah.
How do you feel about that interview?
It was exactly what I expected from Scott Wilde. He's out of control. He's power hungry. He's gripping. He's gripping too tight right now. He wants to keep his spot. He doesn't want to go.
Yeah,
but you never know.
All right. Well, that's our interview with Scott Wilde. Again, you guys can check him up at Bangor Fest, October 29th. Who Watches the Watchmen? Limitless Wrestling. Go there. It's a fun time.
Eddie Edwards is going to be there.
Eddie Edwards is going to be there. So
TNA heavyweight champ Eddie Edwards.
That's right. He's going to be there. I want to see Scotty Wilde. See if he's wilder than him. I don't know. Give him some eyeballs in the locker room, but we'll see. All right. Well, let's get back to the show.